I'm 73 years old, and I am going to admit something to you that most parents would rather die than say out loud. You hear it all the time, don't you? Parents saying, I love all my children equally. I don't have favorites. We say it at dinner parties. We say it to our neighbors. We say it to ourselves in the mirror. It is the polite, socially acceptable lie that keeps the family structure from collapsing. But I am not here to be polite. I am here to tell you the truth about what happens when you decide, consciously or unconsciously, that one child is the investment and the other is the expense. I have two sons. I'm going to call them Mark and Jason. Mark is 45 now. Jason is 42. And if you looked at my family from the outside for the last 40 years, you would have seen the perfect American success story. You would have seen a father who provided, a mother who kept the peace, and two boys growing up in a big house with every opportunity. But inside that house, I was running a psychological experiment that ended up destroying the two people I was supposed to protect. I chose one child over the other. It wasn't a single moment, not at first. It was a slow, creeping poison that I mistook for parenting. I chose Mark. From the time he was 5 years old, I decided he was the one. He was the one who was going to carry my name. He was the one who was going to achieve the things I hadn't achieved. He was the winner. And Jason was the afterthought. And I ruined them both. I need you to understand that I didn't set out to be a villain. Nobody does. I thought I was being practical. Mark was loud, aggressive, athletic. He walked into a room and demanded attention just like I did at his age. He reminded me of myself. And vanity, pure, unfiltered vanity, is the most dangerous thing a parent can have. When I looked at Mark, I saw a mirror. I saw my own potential. I saw a second chance to be the star quarterback, the valedictorian, the CEO. Jason was different. He was quiet. He was sensitive. He liked to draw. He liked to sit in the garden and watch ants crawl over the pavement. He cried when he scraped his knee. And when I looked at him, I didn't see myself. I saw something I didn't understand. I saw vulnerability. And because I was a man who had spent his entire life building armor, I hated that vulnerability. I didn't just dislike it, I was repulsed by it. I thought it was weakness. I told myself that by being hard on Jason, by ignoring him, by pushing him to the side, I was toughening him up. I told myself that Mark needed my resources because Mark had the potential to give a return on that investment. See, that's how I viewed fatherhood. It was a business transaction. You put your time and money into the stock that's going to rise. You don't throw good money after bad. That is a sick, twisted way to look at human beings, but it is exactly how I operated for 30 years. It started small. Mark would get the new cleats because he was the starter on the team. Jason would get the hand-me-downs because, well, he was just playing recreational soccer, so it didn't matter, right? Mark would get an hour of my time helping him with his math homework because he was on the honor roll track. Jason would bring me a drawing he'd spent 3 hours on, and I would glance at it, grunt, and tell him to go clear the table. I remember one specific Saturday when Mark was 12 and Jason was 9. Mark had a baseball game. Jason had a piano recital. My wife, God rest her soul, she tried to tell me. She said, Harold, you go to the recital, I'll go to the game. You went to the last 3 games. And I looked at her and said, Mark is pitching today. This is important. Scouts might be there. Scouts. For a 12-year-old. That's the delusion I was living in. So I went to the game. Mark pitched a shutout. We celebrated. We went for ice cream. When we got home, Jason was in his room. He didn't come out for dinner. I didn't go check on him. I thought he was sulking. I thought he needed to get over it. I found out years later that he had played his piece perfectly, but he kept looking at the empty chair in the front row where I was supposed to be. He stopped playing piano 2 months later. I told him he was a quitter. I told him he lacked discipline. I didn't realize that he wasn't quitting the piano. He was quitting the painful attempt to get his father's attention. But the real damage, the moral crime that keeps me awake at night, happened when they were older. This is the part I have never told anyone. Not my friends, not my pastor. When Mark was 22, he wanted to start a business, a tech startup. He had this big idea, lots of charisma, no capital. He came to me and asked for a loan, a significant amount, most of my retirement savings at the time. I gave it to him. I didn't even hesitate. I shook his hand, I wrote the check, and I told him, "Go get him, son. Make us proud." 2 years later, Jason was 29. He had been working 2 jobs, struggling, trying to get a master's degree in social work. He was a good man, a kind man, but he had gotten into some trouble with credit card debt, trying to pay for school and his rent. He came to me, head hung low, shaking, terrified. He needed help. It was a fraction of what I had given Mark, a fraction. And I looked at him, sitting across from me at the kitchen table, and I felt disgust. I saw a man who couldn't handle his affairs. I saw a bad investment. I lectured him for an hour about responsibility, about how money doesn't grow on trees, about how he needed to learn the hard way. I told him no. I told him no, not because I didn't have the money. I had the money. Mark's business was doing okay, and I was still working. I had it. I told him no because I wanted to punish him for not being Mark. I wanted to punish him for struggling. I told him, "If I bail you out, you'll never learn." Jason stood up. He didn't scream. He didn't cry. He just looked at me with this expression of absolute final resignation. It was the look of a person who realizes that the well is dry, and it has always been dry. He walked out of the house. He dropped out of his master's program 3 weeks later. He took a 3rd job. He worked himself into the ground. He paid off the debt eventually, but it took him 7 years. 7 years of stress, of not sleeping, of graying hair before he was 30. He missed his window for his career. He settled. He became bitter. He hardened. But here is the irony. Here is the cosmic joke that I didn't see coming. I thought I was building Mark into a king. I thought I was giving him the confidence to conquer the world. By giving him everything, by never saying no, by always choosing him, I created a monster. Mark is a narcissist. I don't use that word lightly. I mean clinically. He believes he is the center of the universe because I spent 30 years telling him he was. He took that business I funded and he grew it, yes. But he stepped on everyone to get there. He cheated his partners. He treated his employees like dirt. He has been married 3 times, and every one of those women left him because he is incapable of empathy. He cannot understand a world where his needs aren't the priority. And why should he? His father, the first authority figure in his life, taught him that his needs were the only ones that mattered. I taught him that his brother's needs were secondary. I taught him that he was entitled to the best of everything just because he existed. 5 years ago, I had a stroke. It was a mild one, thank God, but it scared me. I was in the hospital for a week. Mark came to visit me once. He stayed for 10 minutes. He spent the entire time on his phone, checking emails. He was annoyed that my stroke was an inconvenience to his schedule. He complained about the parking at the hospital. He complained about the nurses. He didn't ask me how I was feeling. He didn't hold my hand. When he left, he said, "Dad, I've got to fly to Tokyo tonight. I'll have my assistant check in on you." His assistant. That is the son I poured everything into. That is the return on my investment. A man who views his dying father as an administrative task to be delegated. And Jason? Jason didn't come at all. I called him. I left voicemails. I texted him. I said, "Jason, I'm in the hospital. I had a stroke. Please come." 3 days later, I got a text back. It said, "I hope you make a full recovery. I can't come. I have to work. You taught me that responsibility comes first." That message hit me harder than the stroke. It was like a knife in my chest. He used my own words against me. He used the lesson I taught him when I refused to help him, the lesson that work and money and responsibility were more important than compassion. I realized then, lying in that hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, that I am completely alone. I have 2 sons, and neither of them has a father. Mark has a financier who is no longer useful to him. Jason has a tormentor he has finally escaped. I ruined Mark by giving him too much. I taught him that he was above the rules, above kindness, above connection. I robbed him of the ability to be a decent human being because I was too obsessed with him being a successful one. I ruined Jason by giving him too little. I taught him that he was unworthy of love unless he performed, and even when he performed, it wasn't enough. I robbed him of his self-worth. I turned a gentle, creative boy into a hard, cynical man who doesn't trust anyone, because the one person who was supposed to have his back turned on him when he needed it most. I have tried to fix it. God knows in the last few years I have tried. I invited Mark to dinner. I tried to talk to him about feelings, about the past. He laughed at me. He said, "Dad, you're getting soft in your old age. Stop with the sentimental crap." He doesn't want a father. He wants the cheerleader I used to be. And since I can no longer offer him status or money, he has no use for me. I tried to reach out to Jason. I wrote him a letter, a long letter. I apologized. I admitted I was wrong. I sent him a check, a large check, enough to pay off his mortgage. I thought maybe I can buy my way back in. Maybe I can fix the money mistake with money. He sent the check back, torn in half. No note, just a torn check in an envelope. That silence was louder than any screaming match we could have had. It told me that his dignity was worth more to him than my money. It told me that the wound I inflicted is not something that can be stitched up with cash. He doesn't want my money. He wanted his father 30 years ago, and that man is gone. That time is gone. You cannot unring a bell. You cannot unbreak a child's spirit. I see parents today, and I see them doing it. I see it at the grocery store. I see it at the park. I see the way a mother looks at her gifted child with adoration and looks at her difficult child with exhaustion. I see the fathers who brag about the son who made the varsity team and change the subject when someone asks about the son who is failing math. I want to grab them by the shoulders and shake them. I want to scream at them. I want to say, "Do you know what you are doing? Do you have any idea the monster you are creating in the high chair and the ghost you are creating in the playpen? You think you are hiding it. You think the kids don't notice. Let me tell you something. The kids notice everything. They know who the favorite is before they can speak in full sentences. They feel the difference in the warmth of your hug. They hear the difference in the tone of your voice. They see where your eyes go when you walk into a room, and they carry that with them for the rest of their lives. Mark carries a hollow arrogance that will never be filled. He will never be happy because he needs constant external validation to feel alive because I trained him to crave it like a drug. He will die rich and alone just like I am about to. Jason carries a deep, aching void where his confidence should be. He will struggle to believe that anyone can love him just for being himself because his own father couldn't do it. And I carry the guilt. It is a physical weight. It sits on my chest when I wake up in the morning. I walk around this big empty house, the house I bought to impress people, the house I thought proved I was a good father, and I see ghosts. I see the ghost of the little boy I ignored at the piano. I see the ghost of the young man I turned away at the kitchen table. I would give every penny I have. I would give my right arm. I would give the 10 years I have left on this earth just to go back to that Saturday, to miss the baseball game, to sit in the front row of that recital, to watch Jason play his piano, and to stand up and clap for him until my hands hurt, to take him for ice cream, to look him in the eye and say, I am so proud of you. But I can't. If you are listening to this and you have children, please, I am begging you, look at yourself. Look at them. Be honest. Who are you favoring? Who are you investing in? Who are you ignoring? Stop it. Stop it now. Throw away the scorecard. Burn the idea of return on investment. They are not stocks. They are people. They are fragile, terrifyingly fragile little people who are building their entire understanding of their worth based on how you look at them. If you have a child who is struggling, who is different, who doesn't fit your mold, that is the child who needs you the most. Do not turn away. Do not harden your heart. And if you have a child who is shining, who is winning, who is easy, do not worship them. Do not put them on a pedestal. You are not doing them a favor. You are setting them up for a life of isolation. I ruined my family because I wanted to win. I wanted the winning son. I wanted the winning legacy. I won. I have the rich son. I have the big house. And I have lost everything that actually matters. My phone doesn't ring. My holidays are silent. My grandchildren, Mark's kids, don't know me, and Jason has no children because he's terrified of messing them up the way I messed him up. The legacy ends with me, and it ends in silence. Don't be me. Please, be a parent, not an investor. Love them for who they are, not for what they can do for you. Because when you are 73 and the lights go out and the crowd goes home, nobody cares about the touchdowns. Nobody cares about the startups. All you will want is for your children to answer the phone when you call. And if you do what I did, they won't. And you will deserve it. I deserve this silence. I earned it day by day, choice by choice, over 40 years. Don't earn this. Don't choose one. Choose them both, every single day, before it is too late.